Under the flashing lights of Makati City, Philippines, New Year's Eve 2020 shimmered with the promise of hope. Laughter echoed from lively parties, fireworks exploded across the sky, and the air was thick with the scent of champagne and pulsating music. But inside room 2209 of the City Garden Grand Hotel, a silent darkness crept in, waiting for its moment to swallow everything whole. Christine Angelica Daquera, a 23-year-old flight attendant, her bright eyes and radiant smile capable of melting any heart, stepped into that night with the excitement of youth. A party with friends to welcome 2021, to forget the exhaustion of a year marked by a global pandemic. She wore her favorite white dress, her hair cascading down her shoulders, raising her glass in a toast with those she trusted, unaware that every passing second was pulling her closer to an unimaginable fate. By 3 a.m. on January 1st, the music had begun to fade and the room sank into a silent chaos. Christine lay motionless in the bathtub, cold water spilling over the edge, her arms limp as if embracing the darkness. Her skin had lost its warmth, her lips turned a ghostly blue, and faint bruises marked her arms and thighs, like eerie fingerprints of a secret yet to be revealed. Her friends, who had been laughing with her only hours earlier, now stood frozen in shock, their screams echoing through the hotel hallways, summoning hotel staff and police to the scene. The harsh light of the investigators' cameras swept across the room, empty bottles rolling on the floor, shattered glasses by the bed, and a space that once hosted celebration now turned into a grave for a young woman whose life had been stolen. Christine hadn't just left, she had been taken, and the question hung in the heavy air: was this a tragic accident of reckless youth, or a calculated crime hidden beneath the disguise of joy? Makati City, a dazzling metropolis of skyscrapers and luxury, was unprepared for the storm that was about to break from within that hotel room. Christine's family, upon receiving the news, rushed to the hospital with shattered hearts, only to be met with the cold, lifeless body of their beloved daughter. Her mother, Sharon Dacera, held Christine's hand, tears falling onto the face that once beamed with life, whispering, "Who did this to you?" Thus began an investigation, not just to uncover the truth, but to reclaim justice for a soul taken too soon. This was not just the story of a party ending in tragedy, it was a labyrinth of suspicion, contradicting testimonies, and horrifying secrets waiting to surface from beneath the dust of time. From room 2209, we step into a long, harrowing journey where each clue is a blade, each statement a wound, and the truth, if found, will change everything. As the first morning light of the new year seeped through the curtains of room 2209, Christine's friends, still groggy from the night before, began to sense that something was wrong. Rommel Galido, a close friend from university, was the first to find her. He stepped into the bathroom to splash water on his face after a long night, only to see Christine lying there, water up to her chest, her eyes shut. "I thought she had just fallen asleep," he would later recall, his voice cracking. I called her name, shook her shoulder, but she didn't respond. Panic ignited like wildfire. Rommel screamed for help, calling the others, John Pascual, Valentine Rosales, and the rest of the group. They rushed in, pulled Christine out of the bathtub, and desperately tried to perform CPR, but her body was already cold. Clark Rapanan quickly dialed emergency services, while the others stood frozen, unable to process what they were seeing. At 6 a.m., paramedics arrived, but there was nothing they could do. Christine had been dead for hours. The Makati City Police arrived shortly after, sealing off the room with bold yellow tape against the stark white walls. Sergeant Carlo Martinez, a seasoned investigator with sharp eyes and a weary face, stepped into the crime scene, notepad worn at the edges, pen poised to record every detail. He scanned the room. Empty Jack Daniels bottles rolled under the chairs, a shattered glass lay near the bed, and the overwhelming stench of alcohol mixed with the damp air from the bathroom, but something felt off. There was no sign of a struggle, no blood, no overturned furniture, no footprints smeared across the carpet. Just Christine, lying on the bathroom floor, the paramedics having left her there after their futile efforts. And then Martinez saw them, the bruises. He crouched down, examining her arms and thighs. These were not accidental injuries. They had a shape, a pattern. As if someone had gripped her with force, as if she had tried to resist. He instructed the forensic team to photograph everything, dust for fingerprints, collect strands of hair, even the droplets of water left in the bathtub. The Army 11 friends, a mix of Moore College friends, airline colleagues, and a few recent acquaintances, were taken to the police station for questioning. They all described the night as a normal celebration. Christine had arrived at 9 p.m. on December 31st, texting her mother that she was so happy to reunite with her friends. A video from Clark's phone showed Christine dancing, laughing, raising her glass to toast with everyone. She was the life of the party, Rommel said, eyes red from exhaustion. But when Martinez pressed them about the final hours, the cracks in their stories began to show. Rommel said Christine had gone to the bathroom around 3 a.m. to shower after drinking too much. John Pasquale claimed she had collapsed near the bed around 2 a.m. and he helped her onto the couch. Valentine Rosales insisted she was fine when he went to bed at 1 a.m. Small inconsistencies under Martinez's scrutinizing gaze became gaping holes. Someone was lying, or they all were. At Makati Medical Center, Christine's family arrived just as the official time of death was declared, 12:25 p.m. Sharon Dakira, her mother, entered the cold hospital room, her legs trembling as she saw her daughter lying on the metal table, bruises now stark against the fluorescent lighting. "She can't have died from drinking," she screamed, her voice breaking with grief. Someone did this to her. Beside her, her brother Kevin clenched his fists, rage simmering in his eyes. They refused to believe the theory of an accident. Christine was cautious, rarely overindulged in alcohol, and always knew her limits. Their grief fueled the urgency of the investigation, and Martinez could feel the weight of Sharon's tear-streaked gaze as she locked eyes with him through the hospital's glass doors. He knew then this was not a case of accidental drowning. Something darker lurked within room 2209. Martinez began reconstructing Christine's final hours. The investigative team reviewed the hotel's hallway cameras, and one detail stopped them cold. At 2:47 a.m., a man in a gray hoodie, cap pulled, low over his face, stepped out of room 2209 carrying a bottle of water, before disappearing into the elevator. He was not on the guest list. None of Christine's friends mentioned him. "Maybe he entered the wrong room," John Pasquale muttered, but his voice wavered, and Martinez didn't believe in coincidences. He ordered DNA samples from the scene, while the forensic team rushed to complete Christine's autopsy. By that evening, the preliminary report arrived. Christine had alcohol and traces of MDMA in her blood, a drug her family swore she never used. There were signs of drowning. But most disturbingly, the bruises and a small scratch near her neck suggested something far worse. Had she been attacked, forced, left in the bathtub as a cover-up? At that moment, this case was no longer an accident. It was a hunt for the truth, and with every step forward, Martinez knew this was a maze of deception, where every clue was a knife, every word a wound, and the darkness surrounding Christine's death was far from lifted. On January 2nd, the scorching sunlight reflected off the skyscrapers of Makati. But inside the police station, the atmosphere was as heavy as a moonless night. Martinez sat in front of the whiteboard, drawing lines between the names of the 11 friends and a big question mark next to the hoodie man. The full forensic report arrived that afternoon, turning everything upside down. Christine had not only died from drowning, she had a small tear in her abdominal aorta, a rare condition called an aneurysm. This could explain the sudden death, but the bruises on her body, especially the handprints on her thighs and arms, did not align with a natural accident. The forensic doctor noted, There is a possibility of violent action before the body was placed in the bathtub. Martinez felt his heart pound faster. This could be murder, but who was the invisible hand behind it, and why? He summoned the group of friends again, this time not just for questioning, but for direct confrontation. They sat in the interrogation room, the white lights glaring down on their pale faces. Rommel Galido, who claimed that Christine had gone into the bathroom by herself, started fidgeting when Martinez questioned him about a strand of black hair found at the bathroom door. It did not match Christine's long hair or that of any other girl in the group. "I don't know," he stammered, his hands clenched under the table. John Pasquale, who had said Christine collapsed around 2 a.m., now added a new detail. "She had an argument on the phone with someone at 1 a.m., but I didn't hear it clearly." Martinez frowned. Why wasn't this mentioned before? Valentine. Rosales, who had initially stated that Christine was fine at 1 a.m., now remained silent, avoiding eye contact. The police checked Christine's phone, but it was locked, and no one knew the passcode. They sent the device to the digital forensics lab, but while waiting for results, Martinez ordered the temporary detention of Rommel, John, and Valentine, the three with the most conflicting statements. The investigation split into two directions. The first focused on the group of friends. The police searched each of their homes, looking for traces of drugs or anything connected to Christine. In Valentine's apartment, they discovered a small bag containing MDMA, but he insisted it wasn't his and that someone must have left it from a previous party. DNA from the strand of hair was tested, but it did not match anyone in the group, fueling the theory of a third party. The second direction targeted the man in the grey hoodie. Martinez released his image to the media, receiving dozens of calls, but most led to dead ends. A new witness, Maria Lopez, a hotel staff member, testified that she had seen him enter the elevator with another person at 3 a.m. looking hurried. Martinez ordered a search for the grey hoodie, while also checking bars near the hotel where the group had been drinking earlier. A bartender remembered Christine arriving at 10 p.m. on December 31st, and that an unknown man, not in the group, had been asking about her. He kept watching her from afar, the bartender recalled, and that detail connected directly to the mysterious man. Pressure from the family and the public intensified. Sharon de Serra appeared on television, tears streaming down her face as she held a photo of Christine in her flight attendant uniform. "My daughter didn't deserve to die like this," she said, her voice breaking. The hashtag Dr. Justice for Christine spread rapidly across social media, turning the case into a national headline. Martinez expanded the investigation. They interviewed hotel employees and discovered that a night guard had heard arguing from the 22nd floor around 2 a.m., but never reported it. "I thought it was just a normal dispute," he said, his voice trembling. Martinez could feel the invisible string tightening around a shadowy figure, but time was not on his side. Every passing hour seemed to push the truth further away. On January 4th, the conference room at the Makati police station was packed. From investigators to lawyers representing the suspects, Martinez stood before his team, his voice low but firm. "We have two scenarios. Either Christine died from a medical accident while intoxicated, or she was attacked and left behind to cover up a crime." The final forensic report arrived, confirming that the arterial rupture was the cause of death, but it could not determine whether it was spontaneous or caused by external force. Alcohol and MDMA may have worsened the condition. The bruises were analyzed. They appeared before she died, but were not severe enough to cause the rupture. Martinez leaned toward the second theory, an assault, possibly sexual, disguised as an accident. He ordered the official arrests of Rommel, John, and Valentine on initial charges of manslaughter, while continuing to hunt for the hoodie man. The first court hearing took place on January 7th at the Makati court, not for trial, but to determine temporary detention. The courtroom was packed with reporters, and Christine's family sat in the front row, Sharon's gaze icy as she stared at the three suspects. The prosecution argued that the group of friends knew Christine had been attacked, but failed to report it, leaving her to die in the bathtub. They presented the black hair strand, the MDMA bag from Valentine's house, and conflicting testimonies as evidence. The defense countered, "This was a medical accident. There is no direct evidence of violence or sexual assault." They cited Christine's medical report on her arterial anomaly, suggesting she fell while drunk and died from internal trauma. The judge, under public pressure, ordered a 30-day detention for further investigation, but dismissed sexual assault charges due to the lack of physical evidence such as semen or foreign DNA. Christine's family was not satisfied. Sharon hired an independent forensic doctor whose findings contradicted the official report. The bruises indicate she was restrained for at least 10 minutes before death. This ignited controversy. Had the police overlooked key evidence? Martinez, though not publicly, continued his investigation in secret. He checked Christine's call logs. An unknown number called her at 1:15 a.m. on January 1st, but she did not answer. That number was linked to a prepaid SIM, making it untraceable. The hoodie man remained a ghost. Traffic cameras near the hotel showed a white van leaving at 3:30 a.m., but the license plate was too blurry. Martinez felt stuck, but he refused to give up. He knew the truth was hiding somewhere, waiting for the perpetrator to make a mistake. As time passed, the case of Christine Dacara became a scar in the heart of the Philippines. On January 27th, after 30 days in detention, Rommel, John and Valentine were released due to a lack of direct evidence linking them to murder or sexual assault. Prosecutors dropped the manslaughter charges, concluding that her death was a medical accident caused by an arterial aneurysm exacerbated by alcohol and drugs. But Christine's family refused to accept this. Sharon filed a lawsuit against the Makati police for mishandling the investigation and demanded the case be reopened. Public opinion was divided. Some believed it was a tragic accident of reckless youth, while others argued that justice had been buried by incompetence or political pressure. The hashtag #JusticeForChristine remained ablaze on social media, with thousands demanding answers. Makati City was never the same. The City Garden Grand Hotel became the center of ghost stories. Staff claimed to hear a woman's cries from the 22nd floor at night. Christine's family set up a small shrine at home, where Sharon placed her daughter's photo beside candles that never stopped burning. Kevin, her brother, vowed to continue searching for the hoodie man, even though the trail had gone cold. Martinez, now retired, still kept his notebook on the case in his drawer, flipping through it from time to time with lingering regret. "I know there was something we missed," he later told a journalist, his voice heavy with sorrow. The case of Christine Angelica Dacara never truly closed. It lingers like a ghost over the neon-lit streets of Makati City, where bright lights fail to erase the shadow of unanswered questions. The hooded man, seen hurriedly leaving room 2209, vanished into the night like a fleeting gust of wind, leaving behind nothing but a blurred figure on a security camera. The strand of black hair wedged in the bathroom door, a small yet haunting clue, remains locked inside an evidence box, its owner never identified. And the bruises on Christine's body, those eerie imprints of unseen hands, serve as the final whispers of a truth buried beneath the sands of time. From that hotel room, this story is more than just a lingering question. It is a warning, a reminder that even in the most joyous moments, darkness can lurk just beneath the surface. Was this the tragic accident of a night spiraling out of control, or a perfectly orchestrated crime carried out by cold, calculating hands? Makati City now wears a different mask. Passers-by glance up at the 22nd floor of City Garden Grand Hotel with curiosity and unease, whispering about the cries heard in the hallways on moonless nights. Christine's family keeps a candle burning at her small shrine, yet its flickering light is not strong enough to illuminate the darkest corners of this case. Some believe the hooded man fled the Philippines, carrying the secrets of that night to a place where no one can reach. Others insist the truth was never in his hands, but in the silence of those who remained, the friends, the witnesses, the ones who know more than they ever admitted. Here at Mysterious Cases, We don't promise to solve every mystery, but we will take you on the most haunting journeys, where truth and shadows intertwine. Christine da Sierra is not just a name. She is a symbol of stories left untold, of spirits still wandering in silence. Will a new clue one day emerge? A forgotten video, an unexpected confession, to finally bring everything to light? Or will the darkness of Makati forever guard its secrets, as it has for years? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe this was an accident or a crime? And if you want us to continue unraveling cases like this, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because at Mysterious Cases, every story is a door waiting to be opened, and we won't stop until the darkness is forced to speak.